is going on, Cubs fam? We are back for another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video, and I am super excited once again, my friends, to be bringing you to the whale chat for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This is a weekly series I do. We record these videos over on Twitch every Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to participate in the whale chat, ask questions, which we're going to be doing a regular question and answer session as part of this, be sure to join the Twitch streams. Link is down below in the description. And we got a new panel this week as opposed to who we had last week. Some familiar faces and some new faces, starting with Hot Sauce. You guys know Hot Sauce. He is our resident whale from Maw, who is also a software engineer, I think, is what we would call it. Very, very good on the technical side of this game. How you doing, Hot Sauce?
Hey, Cubs, I'm doing good.
Did I say that right? Software engineer? Is that what you'd call yourself?
Been called worse.
Okay, he's been called worse. All right, so Hot Sauce joining once again. Heinzie, the best preloader in this entire game. How you doing, Heinzie?
Yeah, fantastic, my friend. Cubs fan, bunch of legends. Cannot take Cubs everywhere. How are you, Top Knot? Good to be here, my friend, as always. Great to be joining in this conversation, my friend. I am just your resident flog from down under. Simple as that.
All right. And here by popular request, we've had a lot of people request to bring on free-to-play common man players into the whale chat to kind of even out the perspective. Sometimes we just get a little too far out in the ocean. So to bring us back to the shore, I have brought on Kipper Snack, who is a regular Twitch audience member, and he's joining us today for the first time ever. How you doing, Kipper?
I'm great. What's up, Cubs fam?
Dude, it's so good to have you here. How long you been playing the game, and how much money have you spent on the game?
So I downloaded the game December 21, 2015. So almost the whole time.
Wow.
And
go ahead.
Sorry, and haven't spent a single penny.
Wow.
Free to play.
You haven't even bought like a $2 crystal pack.
No, sir.
Man, I feel like if you guys have ever seen Bruce from Finding Nemo when he's like, "You're an inspiration," that's how I feel right now. Like, you're an inspiration, man. Good for you. So, all right, Kipper joining us, and we're gonna bring on every week. I'm gonna try to bring on somebody new so we can get lots of different perspectives here. We'll kind of have our regular panel of whales that we cycle in and out, but Kipper's spot, the free-to-play spot, will probably be something we rotate in and out quite a lot. And then a new member of our panel, regular member of the panel, is he spells it Partic. I'm just going to call him Patrick. Patrick from Paw Patrol. How you doing, Patrick?
I'm doing well in COVID-adjusted terms. Thanks for having me.
All right. Great to have you. And you are I would say, pretty confident whale in this game. Pretty spending-wise, decently deep into the game?
Yes, and compressed. I mean, I started playing the game towards the end of 2015.
Okay.
But I really didn't play on a daily basis until, I don't know, the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018. So for me, investing in the game has really more been about recapturing lost time than trying to get an advantage, just trying to catch up to play at the level I want to play now.
Okay. Are you at a level now you're pretty satisfied?
I think so. I mean, there's always room to get better, but I'm trying to any further growth and trying to do it in a measured way.
There you go. Well, you are in Paw Patrol, which is one of the more competitive guilds out there in the game, so I'd say you're playing at a pretty high level, and so it's always fun to have some of our top guilds represented in these whale chats. We've had Team Instinct here before. We've had Maw. We've had now Paw Patrol. I think you might be the first rep from Paw Patrol we've managed to get on the show, and so it's really good to have you. Thanks again for joining, man.
Thank you. I'm happy to do it.
All right, so let's get this thing kicked off. We had a lot of news this week, mostly centered around Mon Mothma. We also had the addition of the Rebel Fighter tag, Assault Battles Tier 3 hitting the game. And to get this started off, I think what we're most interested in probably is Mon Mothma hitting this game. For the whales out there, Patrick, you're the new guy. Let's start with you. How are you feeling about, so far, the value of Mon Mothma, what you're seeing? Is this a character you're going to want to whale on? I guess, do you whale on every character, pretty much?
For the most part, although I have not done the two recent tanks in ships, like the Empire TIE Bomber and then the Rebel Y-Wing. Like I think I got them to an unlock, but
You
haven't
just
done
left it
anything
there.
besides that. Everything else, I've at least 7-starred, except Cam, obviously.
Okay, so you're pretty accustomed to whaling on these characters. How do you assess the worth of Mon Mothma thus far from what you've seen?
I'm excited about it, actually. I mean, I think that the appealing thing about this, given that we just had a marquee, so when they first announced this, I was like, I'm really not sure that like what people are really been asking for after we had 3POC is like another $300 unlock character.
Yeah.
But with Mon Mothma, I think there's a lot of potential for this character to be viable even at low stars or at low gear levels.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're applying both Zetas so she can't be targeted. Like the sort of health and protection is useful, I suppose, for withstanding AoE damage, but this is more like I think a Wat Tambor type character where once you have her unlocked, if you have the Zetas to apply, then the character can be useful even if you're not, going hard on the full 7 stars or getting into Gear 13 or into Relic territory.
That's a really great point, and something I want to call on Kipper a little bit to get his perspective on too. My fear is as a player who is, now I'm spending again, and I'm kind of going through that decision process more of to whale to not whale. What I wonder is it worth going the extra mile to get her there because of that, because she can't be targeted, and I do worry about the AoE damage, and I also worry about how important is this, summoned rebel fighter going to be, because his stats are going to be dependent on Mon Mothma's stats. Kipper, are you more interested in this character? How do you feel about Mon Mothma from a free-to-play standpoint? I would guess most marquee characters come out and you probably just kind of, all right, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. I will say that I have a good stockpile of crystals just in case something amazing does come out. I have about 30k right now.
Whoa!
But I'm definitely not. Yeah, I'm not going to use them on Mon Mothma though. I do think I'll get her unlocked. I'll probably apply some Zetas to her because I have a bunch of those saved up as well. But it's like I'm a really good hoarder, and as a hoarder, I don't think I'll be spending anything on Mon Mothma until she's free to play unlockable.
I really want to pick your brain on this because I think that's an amazing achievement to save up 30,000 crystals. I'm guessing to do that you are pretty efficient in taking top spots in arena.
I usually get in the top 50 if I really try and get in top 20. I'm not in my arena chat, and so that's a little bit more difficult.
Wow.
But overall, if I have the time, I move up the ranks, and if I don't, then I don't.
And you're able to hoard those crystals even with getting your 600 daily, with between top 50 in squad arena and in I'm guessing fleet. You finish top 50 as well.
Correct. Yeah, fleet is a top 50 as well, and it's pretty easy to hoard. The last time I spent crystals on someone was when I was trying to get Malik up to Relic 7.
Yeah.
And since then, I've just been kind of hoarding. I spend when I want extra gear or something, but getting my 600 is not an issue, and I just save my gems, my crystals.
Well, this is I feel like we could do a whole video on this. I think that's really inspiring. I mean, you've literally never spent a dime on the game and you're holding on to 30,000 crystals. Most whales don't have 30,000 crystals stockpiled, so that's pretty sweet. How is everyone else feeling about the potential of Mon Mothma? Hot Sauce, I'm curious what your take is.
I'm probably a bad guy to be asking, Cubs. I've been so busy with everything I do on the side with tools and whatnot. It's hard for me to keep up with 2 accounts in the game and whatnot.
Sure.
So I'm doing bare minimum, and then all our elders in Ma are always so amazing at just everything when it comes to characters and strategies and whatnot. So I pretty much follow along. So I tend to whale on almost everything as well, especially if it's going to have any sort of impact on GAC or TW. So I'm always looking forward to new characters.
Okay, cool. So maybe not super versed in what it's going to be, but you said that you've got some. I think it's funny you call them elders, the wise men of Ma, who kind of give everyone an idea of what's going on. Have they already given kind of their seal of approval on this one?
No, I'm not sure anyone's really come out on her yet, so I'm
Okay.
still just waiting on that. Yeah, my theory crafting right now is a big pile of horse dung.
Well, at least you're honest about it. At least you're honest about it. Heinzie, you're the last one to give your thoughts at a glance of what Mon Mothma is going to be to this game. How you feeling about it? You gonna whale?
Yeah,
You're a selective whaler, so.
Yeah, I like picking my mark. Look, a lot of people are certainly excited about Mon Mothma. It's quite great. It's not a game-breaking character. I think it's not something that everyone's going to go, gee, I really, really need that. I do like the thoughts of having a character that actually makes other character you've got already work better. I think because obviously can't be targeted, it should work better at a lower star count as well. I think that's a good thing, certainly. But I know for a fact that there's just so many rebels you've got sitting on the bench. And let's be honest, at the higher level GP wise, you're not really using rebels much apart from CLS, Han, and Chewie.
Right.
Let's be honest. So if there's a way of bringing some other rebels up and making them usable in PvP format, or specifically something in the term of light side territory battle, I think that's something that needs a little bit of assistance. I think we need more teams we can use in the light side territory battle that are successful in clearing those waves.
I think I really like what you bring up, because that's kind of where I want to move the conversation about where these characters are going to be, or how the new characters being brought up as now useful. I want to get the pulse of maybe Patrick. Let's hear your take on this. In Paw Patrol, you guys are some pretty dirty theory crafters over there. Are you thinking? So here's one of my concerns. Let me give this a little bit of a preference here, Patrick. So when I look at Mon Mothma, I see this Rebel Fighter tag being introduced, and we got this list of characters that are going to be there, and almost none of those characters are really that notable. Like maybe Cara Dune is the only one in there that I think that's a really good character still. The others, pretty decent. But I question, if we're going to put a full team of Rebel fighters with Mon Mothma, is her kit going to buff them enough to make the team that good? So what's your take on that, Patrick? Do you think that her kit is going to make them good enough, or do you think maybe we're in store for some reworks, or reworks would be necessary? How are you feeling about that?
I feel pretty good about it. I think this is the kind of kit where you're right that the list of Rebel fighters is kind of a weird group.
Yeah.
But a lot of these characters are ones that folks have geared, if not relicked, and towards the end game for ships. So like B-Stand, for example, was like awesome in the pit raid before CLS came out, and has really been totally useless since then, except at the upper levels of the game, you need to like relic him to get the B-Stand U-Wing fast enough for like a Rebel territory war battle or whatever. But like B-Stand in this team removes turn meter if he has high natural potency. He's a naturally fast character,
right?
And he has this frenzy ability that's interesting, because one of the first things I noticed is I've always really liked Scarif Rebel Pathfinder as a character, and so it was a bummer that he got this nerf where they took the turn meter manipulation away from his basic. But sort of the first thing I think about is, well, is there another way to construct a lineup that would create some of the turn meter loop elements that the developers were trying to get rid of by nerfing SRP? And like a lot of these Rebel fighters have turn meter manipulation in their kits. Like Cara Dune is super fast. I think like her base speed at gear 13 is like in the upper 170s, maybe 180. And so it's not crazy for her to be modded such that she would take the first turn in a battle, and her AoE removes turn meter from the enemies, which is effectively granting turn meter to her allies. And then you've got, B-Stand removes turn meter. Hoth Rebel Scout has like a % chance on his basic to give turn meter to all allies.
Right.
Jyn Urso, I think, either gives or takes away turn meter. If anyone is down in the dumps because they put a Zeta on POW 2 years ago, like POW with POW Zeta, he could gain like 20% turn meter every time a Rebel ally takes a turn. So like if you think about it, you could, in theory, without having done any testing, it seems possible to take some of these random characters and create almost like an Imperial Trooper like rebel squad where
Right.
as long as you get off to a good start and you've got a train of characters who are manipulating turn meter, you can have a bunch of turns in a row and then whether Mon Mothma, her leader ability has this huge damage penalty on all these assists. I think it's like 90% less damage.
Right.
But then you have characters like Wedge and Biggs that I think Wedge is unique, gives like a 15% offense buff per ally with full health. So like if you have Wedge and Biggs in there, they're recovering through Wedge's unique a lot of the offense that Mon Mothma's leadership is taking away. So like it seems like there is a team that could be constructed that does a lot of damage and takes a ton of turns. And I don't know, this is probably not like a meta shifting thing, but you could certainly see a niche for this kind of team in the same way you have a lot of uses for Imperial Troopers or like Mando lead bounty hunter teams or others that are just giving a lot of turns and a lot of assists. And I think it would be fun to play.
I want to call out, first of all, how impressed I am with the depth of your game knowledge. The numbers that you were just throwing out and the little tidbits of information from kits that I did not remember or maybe have never known is pretty extensive. So I love how deep people get into this game. That's something that I love about having these chats with members of the community.
Well, I'm just trying to bait Hot Sauce's guildmates into Zetaing Pow now before we have our next territory war.
So where do you think then, kind of building on what you just said, Patrick, where do you think Mon Mothma is going to see the most use? Do you think she's just going to be like a light side territory battle character? That's pretty much the whole motive here. Do you think she's going to have legitimate territory wars use? Or maybe just Grand Arena, back wall kind of thing?
That is a good question. I think as far as territory war goes, that probably depends on the GP band of the territory war. Like for the sort of 300 million plus guilds, I think the board is already way too small. And so like they're just probably, unless it's like a cleanup team, I think it's very unlikely.
Okay.
I think you would have like primary defenses or attack teams, but if you're in a smaller GP band where people maybe don't have Galactic Legends and this is a more accessible character because she's viable at maybe 4 stars and everyone's already got like Wedge and Biggs and Beastin and like Hoth Scout, like that could be a viable team in a lot of GP bands. I think certainly probably the best use will be in territory battle because unless you have a character in the lineup like C-3PO that's going to reduce Mon Mothma's cooldowns, it's going to take probably more than one battle for her to promote the summoned character high enough to really get the most use out of it. So like it seems like the summoned character is like largely at least the maximum benefit of it is probably going to come in PvE.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have to see. I mean, who knows? If you get enough of like a sort of close enough turn meter loop from some of these rebel comps, then you may be able to promote the summon character faster. But I think, as I recall, it's a pretty high cooldown. So I'm guessing the first thinking about where this would be used is PvE.
So, barring any reworks or new characters, the use, in your view, and this is pretty much in line with where I'm seeing it, is not necessarily much of a PvP use unless you're in a lower GP bracket. Maybe you could find some niche uses, but probably more PvE oriented. So for fans of the character, I want to kind of open this to everybody here. What are your guys' feelings on this? Let's say that's true, okay? Now, we don't know right now. She could come out and she could be way better than Patrick or myself are expecting. But let's say that that's in line with what she ends up being. Is that satisfying to you guys? Are you okay with that, with who Mon Mothma is? Or does that bother you a bit that she would be not more, front and center of the PvP stage? That's open for anyone.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't think it doesn't bother me because every character has its own little place anyway, in one way, shape, or form. These these characters are being tested to an extent now that we're comfortable when they release them, they're going to work really well and they're going to synergize really well with either things that are already there or things that are still coming. I do believe there are probably other characters that are going to synergize better with Mon Mothma in time. One thing I do know for sure is that one of my boys is a pretty happy guy right now. As a joke, I challenged him to take Hoth Rebel Scout and Soldier to Relic 7. He's in a pretty happy spot right now because he's going to be able to use them. So it'll be fun. But overall, I do believe that it's a good fit. It's something that I'll certainly be going after, but it's not something that I go, I need this character. I need to go above and beyond the call to get this character.
Interesting take. Anyone echo that sentiment? Hot Sauce or Kipper, are you guys kind of feeling the same way?
Yeah, not really much to add there. I think best case scenario for me is maybe some PvE helpfulness, but I can see her maybe being a backline person in GAC. Other than that, she's not going to be very useful for me until she's a higher star, which of course isn't going to happen for several months when they release her that way.
Yeah, and for you as a free-to-play player, PvE use, I mean, you need to have her at 7 stars to use her in light side TB, so that might not be really that applicable. So maybe that's kind of the main area they plan on using her. Hot Sauce, did you have anything to add?
No, same. Likely PvP or PvE focused, and I'm just not sure I'll need to wail on it because we're so ahead of Team Instinct already on PvE. Doesn't really matter.
Oh wow!
Oh man, they're not even here to they're not even here to defend themselves. It's a low blow. It's a low blow. All right, so
Patrol. I get confused between the two.
All those top guilds, man. You guys, there's all this crazy connections and stuff going. I don't even know who's who anymore. I just know a few names and just call it a day. Anyway, one last question on Mon Mothma that I kind of want to ask then is we've kind of drawn the lines on where we stand with this. Because of that, is anyone expecting a new character to come along with this soon after, or some kind of rework, or do you guys think this is it?
Yeah, no, I think there'll be more. I do believe there'll be other characters. I think that synergize better. We've already found since the new upgrade that they've had that they are starting to release characters thick and fast now, a lot quicker than they did before. I do believe they've certainly worked on some other teams and compositions that we don't even know about yet. I believe there's still more to come for this particular faction, certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're right that, we've had this Unity update, a week or two ago, and I hope when CG said we're going to do this background update and they'll allow us to introduce a bunch more content, that didn't mean a marquee a week.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking, I mean, I'm curious about the Mon Mothma event, because I was definitely expecting with the last marquee event with 3 Baka that we would see, something that looked, new, I guess, out of the normal, more polished, I guess, because of the Unity update. I did kind of want to touch on this just a little bit since we got Hot Sauce here this week, because Hot Sauce, you're a big software guy. You understand how these engines and systems and whatever work. Do you think that was a realistic expectation that we'd see more of this, or what can you tell us about that, and what our expectations should be with this Unity thing?
Well, if we look back, they were struggling getting new characters out because it was difficult to balance them, the stats, they're whether they want to call it framework or whatever the term is, they were having issues with
We don't have a framework issue.
I know, but they're having issues. It seems like they, switching the Unity version is allowing them to do more, better graphics, better videos, that kind of thing. I think they did have some success with a couple of the recent events that they were a lot more interactive. I think this is all working towards them being able to release more characters faster, being able to release more unique things as part of the events. I'm not sure any of this is directly saying, hey, we're going to all get finally some new non-character based content like a sandbox mode or anything, I'm not sure that that's the direction this is heading. In fact, I'd be pessimistic on that. But I think we're going to see a string of new characters. We're going to see, strings of Galactic Legends coming in. And the one piece everyone can take is, you know what, all those people who are like, oh, the game's dying, they're just going to ride this out, all that kind of nonsense. I think the Unity helps put that to rest. I mean, there'd be no reason to spend the time to overhaul your framework and get set up for the future, essentially, if your plan was to just, milk the game for money. So,
Yeah,
as
agreed.
fans of the game, I think it's a very big positive.
Agreed. And I think the debate isn't if they are if they're, sunsetting the game anymore. That's pretty clearly addressed in my view. I think there's still a worthy debate of, are they ruining the game with some decisions they're making? But they clearly are not trying to do that. They are trying to fix the game and keep it around for quite some time. So, okay, thanks for your insight on that, Hot Sauce. Always appreciate the kind of the software angle that I just don't have as much of experience on to really dig into the weeds on. So I want to talk a little bit about Galactic Challenges with you guys. We're probably going to talk about this every week until we finally see it. We had a Road Ahead post almost a month ago now. It was right at the end of June that we got that. We're at the end of July. It's almost been a month, and we have heard nothing else about Galactic Challenges yet. No more details whatsoever to give us an idea of what's coming, when it's coming, what it's going to be like, other than what we have in the Road Ahead post. I wanted to get a pulse from the group. How you guys feeling about that? Are you feeling gypped? Are you feeling really antsy about to have more information? Do you feel like it's fine that we haven't had communication? Where's everyone at on the spectrum of how you feeling about the Galactic Challenges and the lack of communication?
Can I add to that, Cubs?
Please.
I'll take this one at the start. There's a couple things that I think, again, for us to all enjoy and accept the game, that we need to come to terms with. One is that it's a collection-based game, and there's this huge desire from a bunch of us for something else, but we literally may be looking at a big string of just new characters coming. So that's kind of fact. The other is, communication wise, there seems to be absolutely no drive for them to communicate with us in any way until there's something to release. And watching Ranger in the previous stream, and where Carrie had showed up and was talking and whatnot, I get the real feeling that the true company policy is, you know what, we're purposely not communicating because communication doesn't get us any further ahead, and in fact it hurts them. Now I think that's a horrendous picture to take. You know what, to me that's like, we're going to give in to the 10% of ragers who are going to rage about everything no matter what. Meanwhile, there's 90% of us here that
Right.
just want some communication of any type. So but I think it's something we just got to accept, honestly. Accept or quit the game kind of thing. I don't think until they're ready to release something, we're going to hear much at all.
So this is a really good, I think, discussion piece, because where is the line for you then, Hot Sauce, between accepting and enabling? So this is something that I get into on my channel a lot. When I make a positive video, sometimes people are like, well, have you forgotten about this, and this? I'm like, well, at a certain point, I have to move on and accept things the way they are, and I'm still here. But I also feel like there's also a line of, I want to show Capital Games that this is what we want. This is what we need. Can you please give us this? And if we accept things and allow things to persist too much without voicing our frustration with it, then things just never change. So if you know what I'm getting at, where do you think the line is for that? And Hot Sauce, you can take that, or anyone else can.
Well, I'll take it real quick, then let others. I'd love to hear what they have to say too. I mean, I've never been one of the people extremely angry about everything. I've always consistently said a sandbox mode where we can test our teams against our guildmates. It's insane that they say that won't be used. You know what? Yeah, maybe it's a percentage of the player base, but it's their most dedicated percentage of their player base would use that. It would only make sense. It would only to do those kind of things. But at the same time, I'm very okay with the game that's in front of us. I still enjoy it. I love it. Heck, I've made a side business off of it. I invest so much time into it and whatnot. So I'm happy where things are, and I'm not expecting big change to stay around. But again, that's a personal decision.
Okay. Interesting. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? The line between accepting it for what it is, but also making it clear to CG that we still want X, X, and X.
Okay, let me go. Here we go.
let the Aussie go. Release the
Here we go.
Aussie.
Here we go. Here we go. All right, now, firstly, Cubs. Rule number 1 of customer service is communicate with your customers. It's not rocket science. Let's be honest. It really isn't. It is a fundamental basic of selling a product that you want people to pay stupid amounts of money for. And we decide to do that in a lot of cases, and that's fine. But communication is just basic sales 101. We're not getting it. It's pretty simple. It really is. You said, man, we had the road ahead. Did we really? Let's be honest. That was not a road ahead, man. That was just, hey guys, we're doing this. And that's about it. There should have been so much more. We got Mon Mothma coming. We've got this coming. We've got that coming. We're investing in this game. We're bringing new, content through. We're doing the Galactic Challenges. We want to be excited about our game. We really do. We need to know, or we want to know, because we're invested in it, both financially and time-wise. We want to know what's happening in our game in future that, for some reason, every other game that we play out there is a lot easier to find out and a lot more transparent. Why hide it? You're going to release it anyway. Get us excited about it. And here's a crazy idea. People might actually spend more on the game because they know that you guys are investing in it too. Because at the moment, we don't know what's coming up. The mystery game ain't working. Pretty simple.
Good take. I like what you had to say. Patrick or Kipper, do you have anything else to add?
Can I chime in for a sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sweet. So just as a free-to-play, I don't mean to be a downer, but the last 2 Road of Heads have kind of sucked for us free-to-plays because this last one, okay, yeah, we have this Unity update. There's going to be all this cool new stuff. We haven't seen anything from it. And then the one before that, it was all about packs. We're going to show you these really cool packs. Which
it was literally about the Hyperdrive bundle. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be a downer, but it's really discouraging when I'm not hearing anything new coming into the game for me as a free-to-play or my free-to-play community. And so I hope that communication will improve. I don't expect it will. Like 5 years later, it hasn't improved yet. But I'm hopeful. Like I love the game. I love the community. So I'm really hoping that things do improve for us. I just don't see that happening right now.
I'm curious. I want to get a number from everyone on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very confident, 1 being no confidence. How confident are you guys that communication from CG will ever get better than it is currently? We'll go top to bottom. Hot sauce. Where's your confidence?
Probably about a 3, I would say. Because, and I'll give you what, I think CG has been told by EA potentially, and this all boils back to, forums and Reddit and Carrie back in the day, that they are to not communicate. I believe they've been told not to communicate, and I'm not sure what has to happen or how that would all ever change.
So something big would need to change for that. Okay, so you're at a 3.
I believe so.
Heinzie.
Oh, look, there's always potential for change. We know that.
Give me a number.
I reckon a fair number would be around the sort of 4 to 5 mark would be realistic. But with that being said, all we really need is someone that basically can be unmuzzled to actually communicate with us.
Release
who that is
Crumb.
or why that is. Yeah, look, we love Crumb. I'm not going to lie, man. He's a cool dude. But the problem is,
man, I've met Crumb in real life. He's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met.
Yeah. Look,
Super
I've
cool.
got no doubt that he's hamstrung on what he can and can't say. How can you have a community manager that really is not allowed to talk to the player base? That's his job.
Crumb
Crumb
is a great community manager. But he's not allowed to community manage.
I agree. So what's the point of having a community manager, number one? And secondly, he is the go-to for people like us that if we've got something to say or if we've got something to add to make our game better. And it's all of our game. We don't have anyone to go to because we're not going to get an answer. How's that cool? I mean, just to compare against another game that we're playing, that I'm playing at the moment. I'm not going to mention the name because it's irrelevant. But at the end of the day, brand new characters come out. They've got an open Q&A with 3 or 4 developers telling us what's coming up. We know what's coming up in the next 6 to 7, 8 months already. That's cool. I'm invested in that game because I know that A, they care, they have a passion for it. Not that I'm saying CG don't, but they're not proving that's the case at the moment. But the thing is that the transparency, should be there. Why not? What have we done wrong to get to the point where we don't know what's coming up in our game and get excited about it? Crazy.
I think very well said. So, okay, so Hot Sauce is at a 3, Heinz is at a 4 to 5. Kipper, what's your number?
I'm optimistic. I have a 6. I think that they want to improve communication with us. They just, kind of like you're saying, they have their hands tied behind their back already. So I'm going to go, 6. Let's do it.
6. Wow. Okay. Patrick.
I mean, I don't know, like a 2. I feel like the power of inertia is strong. Like if they keep having good quarters and not communicating much and releasing characters that the rest of us are spending on, like what's their incentive to sort of step in, or if they feel like whatever they're going to say people aren't going to like. I mean, I will say to sort of the earlier question, when they published the road ahead, like you asked, are we surprised that we haven't heard anything since then? I mean, not really, because that if you read that road ahead, it was like the Underpants gnomes from South Park. They were like, we've got this awesome new game mode, and then they had their own question to themselves was like, what's it like? And the answer was, we're still working on the details. So like, I mean, there's not much to report from there. And like, they're churning out these characters now. And I imagine, a lot of work was going into getting the background update out. And so we'll hear something when we hear something, but it seems like with the character releases and everything else going on, there's not like a financial incentive for them to rush. They seem to be doing fine.
Interesting. Interesting to see the spectrum here. I think I was expecting some of you to be at different numbers than you were, and in particular, Kipper, I was impressed with your optimism. Sometimes I share that optimism, and it sucks to get burned sometimes, but I love to hear the optimism. So hopefully we can see improvement. I personally feel like it's very important. And what maybe is gonna kind of alluding to what Hot Sauce talked about is maybe there's something that needs to change leadership or upper management wise to allow such a change to occur. But again, kind of coming back to Heinzie, the customer service component, I am a customer service guy. I'm very much about, the people who pay you, the people who interact with your product are very important. And it's amazing to see them neglected. So, all right, let's move on to the last portion of the whale chat for this week. We have got questions that have been asked by the people on Twitch. Again, we record these live on Twitch. You guys, most of you are probably watching this replay on YouTube. We record this live on Twitch Fridays at noon Pacific Standard Time. As a reminder, if you want to get a question into the panel, you can come on the stream, and Toyota is the all-knowing, all-powerful judge who determines which questions are worthy of the chat, and he has compiled a group of questions for me, and we're going to get into these. We're going to do kind of rapid-fire questions. We're going to get through these. Try not to spend too much time answering them. Let's go. Why don't we do, let's see here. I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to go... Anyone can jump in and answer it, but we're only going to let one person give their answer, okay? So if somebody answers it, don't everyone just jump on it, okay? We're just going to do one at a time, and if you just answered a question, let somebody else take the next one. Deal?
Just get the question out there, Cubs. Let's go. Let's go, man. Let's get it done. Come on.
I'm teasing Heinzie too much here. Okay, question number 1 comes from Darth Cupcake in the chat, and he says, after the release of the Unity upgrade and the recent additions of 3POC and Mon Mothma And I would also add to his question, the rework of Darth Vader. Has your faith in CG and the future of this game changed?
I'll go first. Absolutely, it has. Finally, we're learning that they do want to invest into this game into the long term. That is not a bad thing. It is a great thing for our game that we love and adore. We've all seen the "Is the game dead?" and all those videos over a long period of time. As Hot Sauce said before, no more of those videos at the moment. They're investing at least for a few years. That is a great thing for us. We love our game. We want it to succeed and get better. And we want to have fun with our guildmates and our characters. Give us something that we can play with our toys more, and we're going to love it even more than we do. But keep it coming.
Heinze wants to play with his toys, confirmed. All right, good answer, Heinze. Z Hershey has our next question. Legend of the Cubs fam, Z Hershey. Love you, dude. He says, with the release of Challenge Tier 3 for Assault Battles, do you think we're going to see a level cap increase or a mod level increase?
Probably, but I hope not. I mean, for the folks who were hitting this Tier 3 today with Relic 7 teams, it's just, I think I've heard maybe one person has gotten to Wave 8. Like, it's just clearly not tuned for the current game.
Yeah.
And so I worry about us going to like 6A mods or Relic 10 or level 90 or something else, like right after we've had, the last 6-7 months have just been paywall after paywall. We went from like relics to the GL prerequisites to the GLs to, where we are now. And so I worry about people's ability and desire to stay fully engaged with another huge paywall step. So I hope not, but it seems unlikely that the current game mode is tuned in this tier to current characters and abilities, unless it's just like lack of testing and just like, oh, let's see what happens if we put another tier out there that's super hard. But I guess we'll have to see. I'm nervous about it though.
Can I break your rules, Cub?
Break the rule.
So from the technical side of what I know in the game, a level increase is very unlikely just because of the fundamental rework and retesting that would drive and things. I think the most likely things we are to see are increases in relic levels because that kind of scales all characters more evenly in a way. You'll see potential relic abilities, I would think, or you'd see a different tier mods. I mean, all those would kind of, fit on top of the characters. I can't see them changing kind of that base of a character like its level, just because of the problems it would cause.
Interesting. I think of all of those ideas, I would probably prefer relic increases over probably a level cap increase, or maybe a level cap increase and relic increase would be about the same, but I think that would be a pretty astronomical credit cost for a lot of people. And then I really do not want them to touch mods ever again. I would be very, very disappointed to see them touch mods personally. But relic abilities might be cool. And I think also adding to the question, it's not just Challenge Tier 3 that seems not tuned for this game, like Patrick was saying, but light side GOTB feels like it's not tuned for the current game in many ways. So interesting perspectives. All right, next question. We have got Sam Va from the chat who asked, if CG does another Galactic Legend, how far in the future would you want it to be?
I'll answer this one.
All right.
Never. I don't think that I started going for Galactic Legend Kylo and I was super excited. And then I'm like, oh, this is going to take me forever. It's going to kill my GAC brackets. This is not worth it. Like, I faced a guy in GAC that had his Supreme Leader Kylo and I kicked his butt. Like, he could get through none of my other teams because that's all of his relics went into that character. So as a free to play, I really hope they don't. I expect they will, especially looking at their financials. It makes sense that they will.
Yeah.
But that's my answer. Never.
Does anyone disagree? Is everyone pretty much on the same page with that? You guys all laughed in agreement, it seemed like.
No, I didn't laugh in agreement. I laughed because what my opinion. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback.
Yeah, Patrick, go ahead and go on mute. We're getting feedback from you.
Cool. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
But what I'll find is that that they will certainly, absolutely release another Galactic Legend. I don't know when. It could be soon, it could be later, but it's happening. It made them some serious cash. The grind for those characters is enormous. The relic investment, finishes that were needed to get those 2 characters are off the chain. There's a heavy investment in it. We know that. It's not free to play tuned. I'm sorry, dude, but it's certainly not free to play friendly. It's not designed to be that. We know that. It's there to make them some serious coin, and it has done that. I think it's proven. There will certainly be other ones. I don't think in the next 6 to 8 months. I'd say next year would be reasonable. I think people would expect that. But at the end of the day, we could have one next week, couldn't we? We just don't know.
All right. There you have it. Let me know what I want to hear what everyone thinks about that in the comments in particular. Everyone, jump to the comments. Tell me how you guys feel about that. All right. Next question. We got Goody Man. Of all the teams that are considered quote unquote low tier, who would you like to have as a fun team? For example, Jawas, Rogue One, Tuskens, and so on.
Oh, I will take this because I have invested way too heavily in both Jawas and Tuskens, and they are awesome. So let me make the case for these briefly.
Well,
Jawas, if you have Jawa Scavenger, Jawas are kind of a weird team because they apply damage by being attacked rather than by attacking. Right? Because if Scavenger is alive, then he applies thermal detonators whenever a Jawa ally is attacked. And I think Scavenger's detonator is either 20 or 30% max health damage. So if the best setup I've used, our GAC histories on swgoh.gg, I had a couple GAC matches where I used a Barris lead and 4 Jawas against GG and won.
Oh, wow.
Because if you have high enough health on the Jawas and they passively regenerate from Xeris, then they can weather the barrage and all the droids kill themselves because they get so many bonus turns and do so many AoEs. And then because B2 and Magna Guard don't hit very hard, they actually heal you. So it's awesome.
So are you actually Urzatron with a voice changer?
No.
Are you sure? Okay. I was wondering if Urza has infiltrated the chat.
No, I'm pretty sure. And I will give you 10 seconds on Tuskens, which is Tusken Raider has, I think, the 3rd or 4th highest base physical damage in the game, and then gains 15% offense on top of that for each Tusken ally. And then I can't say it, but the Tusken leader, like has an ability that gives 100% turn meter to all the Tuskens. So like if you put a super fast mod set on the Tusken leader, then Raider and Shaman get out first and then get a bunch of turns, and Raider hits really hard. Just as a joke, I had one GAC round, a hot sauce against one of your guildmates, where I set the 3 Tuskens under SLKR lead with First Order Stormtrooper as a pre-taunt, and that team held against like the DR counter to SLKR because Raider one-shot Darth Revan, and then the team fell apart.
Listen, if you're gonna mention that character, you have to commit, okay? It's not it's that's what his name is. I want you to commit to it, Patrick. Come on, do it.
It's not gonna happen.
Dang it! Who's gonna do it for me? Who's gonna do it? Sure. I already ate. Yeah, it's fine. Sorry, I'm recording a video. Sorry, my wife came in to ask me if I wanted lunch. Is anyone gonna commit to it? Is anyone gonna do it for me?
I can do better than that, Cubs.
Do
I
it.
can get our boy. I can get our boy Grid, man. He can drop one in for us.
Grid will do it. Oh, all right. Okay, moving on. We got just two more questions. Jeff Flost is asking, are bounty hunters ever going to get a capital ship? If so, what would it be?
Cool. I love my bounty hunters. I've never thought about a capital ship for them. I'm not going to lie. Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? You could probably, I can't remember the name of it because you put me on the spot, but there's the floating platform from Clone Wars. You know, the ship that dropped down at their home base, their HQ base.
Yes.
That'd be pretty cool.
Okay. Interesting.
But I don't think it's viable. I mean, Houndstooth is so useful everywhere else, isn't it? Probably doesn't need a capital ship.
I don't know if I see that coming, but maybe. And then last question here. We've got Chewy Furious, who asks, do you think Mon Mothma will be a plug-and-play character, or is she only going to work with Rebel fighters?
No, only Rebels. Yeah, only Rebels.
You broke the rule.
Look, there are some... Sorry. Did I...
I'm just messing. Go ahead.
You got me for a second. I was a bit worried. Yeah, look, I believe that obviously it's tuned around Rebels. I mean, it's not like... I mean, there are some incredible theory crafters out there that are going to come up with some weird and wacky lineups. We know that, Cubs. There are some incredibly intelligent people that are going to put some stuff together. but that's it. I don't think it's Wat Tambor's style. I don't think you can plug it in everywhere. Or Thrawn. I mean, Thrawn and Wat Tambor are certainly designed to fit in any lineup if it's needed, if it warrants it. I just can't see Mon Mothma, the way that it's set up, being able to do the same thing.
Anyone disagree? Have any other opinions, or are you guys thinking the same thing? It's just going to work with Rebel fighters.
I think it's more intentionally factional. Like, I remember when CG said when they released Hux, that Hux was going to be this plug-and-play character, and then people immediately figured out how Hux could do a gas counter, and they're like, oh, no, just kidding, it's all First Order. And then, since then, they've been much more factional, except for the GLs. So I suspect, especially since this is like a passive summon character, that they figured people who want a plug-and-play summoner can use Geonosian Brute Alpha. We don't need two of them.
There you go. All right. Hey, listen, I just want to thank all of you guys for joining me for this week's Whales Chat. In particular, Kipper kind of jumping in off the street. So it's kind of like I just grabbed you off the street and brought you into the chat. Want to thank you for coming especially. This was a good chat this week. We covered a lot of subjects. If you guys want to stay tuned, next week we're going to do another whale chat. These are going to be, I'm going to make this a Saturday tradition. So every Saturday we're going to have these videos coming out. And we'll see if there's any news coming from CG. Hopefully before I post this video, we'll have something else. We're recording this on Friday. Maybe we get something in the afternoon. But anyway, just want to thank you all for joining me. It was a great chat, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Cubs.
Thanks for having me.
Heinzie blowing kisses as always. All right, everyone, like the video if you enjoyed it. And as always, my brothers, don't forget